So let's get to the nitty gritty. Talk about your PBs.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what are your PBs for 5K, 10K, half marathon, and marathon?
It's a question we ask all our guests
It
as
is.
well.
It is a
That's
question.
fine. So yeah, when I was looking for PBs, my 5K is 19 minutes 45 seconds.
Wow. Sub 20.
Sub 20.
Wow.
My fastest 10K was I think it's 48 minutes. I can't remember the seconds. 48 minutes. Half marathon, 2 hours and 3 seconds, which does my head in.
Ooh. Oh.
It is awful to see that on my little board I've got in my games room. I hate it so much.
I've just done,
my...
not to rub it in any Tom,
No,
but
no,
I've
no.
just run a sub 2 hour. Has been my long-term goal is to run a sub 2 hour, and I did it a couple of weeks ago. I've got 1:59:04, so
No,
not to rub it
so,
in.
No, that's fine. I see how it is. Yeah, I appreciate that. And then yeah, marathon was I got that London Marathon. That was 5 hours and 2 minutes.
Awesome, fantastic. Is there any goals to run another marathon or another half marathon or?
Yeah, so it's just as they come up and when I'm free is just whatever I fancy. For me, I really do like exploring. So no disrespect to like the Lincoln Half Marathon or Lincoln 10K.
Yeah.
It's home. I live just outside the city, so I've seen it every day. For me, it's just another run. Whereas other runs, so I've been down in London, did one around Olympic Park, was fantastic, and other places around the UK, around London, around Wales. I've been to Ireland, did a half marathon in Ireland. It's fantastic. Just to see the world really, and I love adventure. I love exploring. So,
is there a half marathon in Beverly Hills?
If not, I could start off. Actually, funny you say that. There is. There is. Yeah. When me and my wife got married, we went to Beverly. We stayed in LA and we stayed in Beverly Hills. And the roads were closed, and we didn't understand why. And there was a road race going on, and there is a half marathon there. Yeah.
There you go then.
So yeah,
that's got to be ticked off. That's got to be ticked
off.
Well, in episode one of these special episodes, Dave, who we had on, who's the guy in the military police, he was trying to rope us all in together to do a mental health charity run for Manchester Marathon. So if that happens, Tom, expect another email in your inbox.
Yeah, please do.
Do a meetup.
Definitely, 100%. Yeah, like I said, that side of the Lancashire, especially, I've got a soft spot for that place.
Affinity for that place. Yeah, definitely.
That's it.
We might be able to do a relay team out of all the podcast guests from this week.
Sounds good. I'll hold you to that.
So, coming towards the end of the episode, Tom, where can we've already established where people can get more help from, so GPs and things like that.
Sure.
Talk about you. So what are you doing? Where are you going to be next? How can people reach out to you or follow you?
Yeah, so you can reach out to me through my website, so mentalhealthrunner.co.uk. There's my Instagram account, which I'm very active on, which is what my platform is, which is mental_health_runner. And if for other things as well, there's a TED talk out there as well, called Surviving the War Against Yourself. That's sort of surviving the fight in the war against yourself, which is a 10-minute talk, a little bit more explained of obviously what we talked about today. You can buy my book, which I heavily suggest. Which is so it's available pretty much everywhere, every good bookstore, and also for the Kindle.
I was going to say it's on Kindle.
Yeah. So the important thing is why I find it so important is because when I wrote the book, it is my life story in regards to my mental health journey. But I couldn't write the book without getting Amber involved, and not just as a proofreader. You know, I strictly believe that the carer's side of mental illness is not talked about.
No.
And because the sex appeal, as it were, is the people who are suffering, is the story behind the mental illness. So Amber is quite unique in the fact that it's my life story. When I meet Amber for the first time, Amber now starts to have chapters as well. So it's two stories in one.
Wow.
So anyone can read the book, get an idea of what Amber was going through, and identify as, oh, maybe I'm the carer in my own life, I need to get some help, or I'm identifying as Tom, I'm a sufferer, I need to get some help. So it's a self-help, but not a self-help book. But yeah, it's only a small read, as it were. My mum took great pleasure in saying
172 pages. I'm just looking at it.
Yeah. My mum took great pleasure to say I read it all in one sitting when it took us about 1.5 years to write. So yeah, again, the book is there. It is my life, very candidly put out there, as it was essentially. And then yeah, outside of that, I've got my own running club in Lincoln. I could Run Tuck Run Lincoln. It's a part of the Brooks Run Happy team. I'm doing something called the Operation Samaritan. And that is basically, I've made 3,000 laminated tags for the Samaritans details.
I've got some. I need to go out and put them out. I need to go and put them out.
Yes, you do.
I know. I forgot that I had them, but I will do that. Don't worry. I have got them.
And they're basically just, as you know, it's just details of the Samaritans where we could put up on railings, bus stops, things like that, just so people have, either starts a conversation, people can see it and take note, or maybe if someone is at the point of crisis and they're on the way to attempt something, it might just help them in their time of need. And yeah, they're all over the UK and Ireland. They're about 1,000 put up now, so yeah, that feels fantastic.
I will do it. I have a long run on Sunday, and I will go out whilst running. I will take them in my little bum bag, and I will put them out. Don't worry, I will do that.
Good.
So your long run's going to turn into an interval session because you're going to be stop, start, stop, start.
Yeah,
I'll allow it for this. I'll allow it. He hasn't got permission to do an interval session, but you know, if he takes too long in the rest, I'll have him for it.
And then yeah, the last thing of all the extraordinary other things I do is this week especially is incredibly busy for me because I dedicate my life outside of work as a mechanical engineer for mental health. I go around, as we kind of briefly talked about mental health, and I've got a couple coming up in America. I've got a lot in the UK around businesses, colleges, unis, some schools,
podcasts,
public speaking, and podcasts. Yeah, podcasts, of course. Yeah. Last but not least, of course. And yeah, just talk about mental health, and it's fantastic. I love it because it's so cathartic, not just for me, but it's really eye-opening that when you speak to a group of year sevens, for example, which has happened, and when you say, right, any questions, ask me anything from what football team I support to, you know, the hard bits, and one student asking you, are you okay, sir? Not only is it weird someone saying sir to you, but it's just, you know, that kid just asking, are you okay? And, you know, not only do I feel like my job is done because I've helped one person, but for them to stand up in the whole year group and to ask that question is testament to how important it is to how we talk about mental health. Yeah. And we break down that barrier, that wall we built of mental health stigma, and history serves us right. We're good at breaking walls down. Yeah. So we can do it, and if it means talking every day of my life essentially about myself, it's a life well lived. It's something I can look back on and say, you know, I did that, or, you know, at least I tried.
It's such an easy question to ask, isn't it? But probably a question that's not asked very often. And we talked about this on the previous episode. It's the follow-up to that.
That's it, yeah.
Because if you say to someone, "Oh, are you okay?" you often get the response, "Yeah, I'm all right. A bit tired," or "Yeah, I'm all right. I've been better." But there's nothing after. It's like, what do you mean by that? Or you know, do you want to talk about it a little bit more? It's having these conversations. It's it's such an easy question, but such a hard thing to ask, especially as well when someone, you know, somebody goes through mental health problems as well. You almost feel that stigma to actually ask them that question, as if it's going to trigger something.
Yeah, and that's what I do say when people ask a question, much like what you said, is I always do a thing called ask twice, listen once. And what I mean by that is when you ask the question, you know, are you okay? Like you said, most people go, oh, I'm just tired, or yeah, I'm all right, and oh, it's all right, yeah, whatever. But the second time you ask it, there is a percentage out there. It's under 30%. Under 30% of people would then still say, "Yeah, I'm fine. Just leave me alone." It drops massively, and that person is an individual is more likely to say, "Actually, something isn't right, and I need to sit down and talk about it," because you are opening the gate. Then you're showing that person not only do you want to know if they're okay, but you're not just asking them because it just seems to be a kind thing to do. You're asking them because you are interested. You want to help. Even in my experience, when someone's asked me twice and I still go, "No, just leave me alone. I need my time, I need my space." I still know from, again, the BPD really doesn't help with this, but I still know that person has metaphorically said, "Right, I'm going to sit next to you. My arm is out around your shoulder, and I will listen to you if you need to talk to me." And there's been times where, even with the Run Happy team, people have done that to me, and I've not been able to say something isn't right because they live miles and miles and miles away. They don't quite understand what's happened recently. But I know, and I have reached out to those people, gone, I've just texted them at stupid o'clock at night, "Are you awake? Can we have a chat?" Because I know that they're there. And it's such a strong thing to do, is when that person who's struggling knows, okay, they're sat next to me metaphorically and they're waiting for me to talk, they are there. That, I'll stress it though, that's not to say if the first time they say, "Actually, something's not right," listen to them. Listen to them then. But 9 times out of 10, like I said, it's ask twice, listen once is kind of like my own philosophy regarding that.
Yeah, fantastic. That's
absolutely
great.
Amazing. Thank you very much for coming on, Tom.
It's a pleasure.
I literally could sit here all night listening to you, talking to you, but we try to keep them relatively short, the episodes, because people get bored of me and Ben sometimes. So what we'll do is, potentially in the future, we'll get you back in if that's okay with you. We can have another conversation. We'll carry on the conversation. We can potentially meet up in Manchester. We'll have a look at that, doing that.
Sounds good to me.
It's a really, really, really important message that you've an inspirational message as well that you've portrayed tonight. It's been really, really good to listen to you. So thank you very much, and for being so open and honest.
Sure.
It's been really, really good.
Yeah, I think it's hopefully going to start a lot of conversations, but I think thanks for coming on the show, and thanks for being you and talking so well about such a difficult subject.
And thank you for doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank
you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Such an inspiring, motivational, hard-hitting story from Tom there.
I'm speechless.
Like I say, I could sit there all night and just listen to him talking about his life, his story. I mean,
you can see why he does what he does. Obviously, the inspiration, the motivation is there to do and change people's lives because of what he went through. But he's such a captivating speaker.
Yeah,
like,
really is.
You can see why he goes into schools, and I think I've got to absolutely look at reading his book.
Yeah.
Because definitely. As he said, like, it's from the perspective of him, and I think he called his partner Amber the mental health carer.
Yeah.
So it already is such it's an interesting topic. There's a lot of stigma attached to mental health, but
there is.
He's very open. And I'd imagine that book's going to be exactly the same and quite enlightening.
Yeah, and when I arranged for him to come on, I asked him, "Is there anything that you don't want to talk about?" And he said no. He wants to talk about anything that we want to talk about, and I think that's why he came across so well that he did, because he is that open, he is that honest, and don't get me wrong, there's people out there that won't want to talk about it, and that's absolutely fine. But I think he said it in the podcast, it's cathartic. It makes him feel better being able to talk about it. And we talked about it on Monday with Dave around talking about your mental health really helping. And we talked briefly about it with Joe as well. And I think the take-home message for me for this week has definitely got to be running really does help people's mental health, as well as talking about your mental health. And recognizing when you are struggling, recognizing when you are starting to become unwell, but having that opportunity to talk and open up really does help people.
And I think it's important to say, like, if, as you said, some people they don't want to talk, and
No.
we've obviously got to respect that that's something they don't want to do. But
Yeah.
they're obviously maybe people listening to this podcast that, you know, have taken some comfort from listening to people talking about it, and that's what we hope, and that's what we wanted to have achieved when we put these episodes together. And it was touched on in that interview there that one of the best things you could do, I didn't know, was to go on and look at listening to TED Talks about mental health. So I think if you are listening to this episode and you've listened to any of the previous episodes this week, there is plenty of resource out there. We're going to put some of the resource out in the show notes of each episode, and obviously on our Instagram, Facebook and TikTok accounts. But it's probably just worth mentioning to people that you're not alone, I guess, if you are struggling with mental health. And you always probably, if you don't know, hopefully you do now, you can find someone to reach out to.
Yeah, definitely. What a week. It's been amazing, absolutely amazing. I've loved every single minute of it. It's been such an inspiring week. Say hard hitting, people's raw stories coming out, but it's been, hopefully people that are listening have found benefit from it and have enjoyed listening to the episodes. That's why we did 3 episodes this week, just to raise the awareness of mental health awareness week. So I really do hope you've enjoyed it. We are back next week. We have got a Potter's Half special. That's featured, Potter's Half Off is featured in this month's Runner's World magazine, as in a little excerpt in the magazine, just to describe what it is. So it's a well run race. So we'll get, I think Natalie's coming on, and she's going to bring somebody else in, one of the race directors. So that's going to be a good episode as well. So listen out for that. So if you have got any questions about anything that we discussed this week, there is plenty of people out there that you can reach out to. If you've got any questions for us, please let us know, and we can point you in the right direction if we can. And hope you've enjoyed the week, and we will see you all later.
See you later.